much. Well, my own sense is the discussion that has taken place and the gist of what has been presented here. If we can just collate all this and come up with a piece of paper, maybe 3 pieces of paper to begin with, this will be a wonderful guideline for us, what needs to be done, and how then we elaborate a little bit more. And now that we are a big family of YSBCs and non-YSBC universities, we can share which one can do what part of thing as we go along. But this is a very good document right now emerging from this. Financing and the special task of getting case books and other things done and many things. So this would be, I hope we'll get a written piece out of this and we'll follow it up on that one. And this is something very important. To me, I keep repeating that. To me, it's so important. I said, if social business finally finds a permanent place in the university, then social business will happen. If no matter what we have done, if it never got into the university, never found a foothold, nobody gave it a place there, it will sooner or later will become another effort somebody made, but didn't make really sense anything. So that's why it's so important. If you really mean something, if it has some worth in it, first thing to do is to find a foothold within the university, so that the students can start criticizing it, teachers can start defending it, or other way, student defending it, teachers criticizing it. Then the frontier of knowledge starts growing. And you have to write things, you have to do research, because you are bothered by a frequent question by your students, why not this? Then you want to know why not this? And you want to come up with an answer. You find out who's doing what, why they are not doing it this way rather than that way. You come up with a beautiful answer for that. And you feel you contributed the frontier to enlarge, expand. So this is how we feel that we make this initiative. If we love this idea, if it makes sense to us, we will try to see if we can find a room for that. That's why the University Academia initiative came, and I remember in the beginning CAM trying to struggle to put this crowd, small crowd together to come into a line. Now it has taken a shape. I particularly feel this Academia pre-conference has given us a little shape than before. And by the time we get to Wolfsburg in November, I hope this will have a better shape because we understand each other in a more concrete way and proceed in that one. And on financing is a common issue we all talk about, and that's what David was trying to explain, how to finance it, how to bring money, donors, corporates. It's possible. It's nothing impossible. And what I have been thinking about financing, and one is, this is accepted, this is important. We seek funding for running the YSBCs and scholarship programs and so on. And finding research funding to begin with, because it's easy to discuss. Because when you say you fund YSBC, people get scared. We get stuck with something. But I'm not stopping that. Keep that in mind, keep this in the list. But research funding is much easier. People are used to it. There are research funders already established. You are bringing another researcher idea. If you can persuade them, you have research funding. Then research fund can get few faculty members involved and the students involved. This is something to begin, a core thing to begin. And if you can produce something, then it kind of lifts you a little bit that, yes, we have something to do. And other universities can also feel excited that, yes, this is one route. So research funding is also an important thing that we can look for, that is possible. Scholarship funding, that's also funding. If you can find scholarship funding, 1-2 scholarship funding, individual funding, it's much easier to find one scholarship funding than whole institution funding. Funders don't usually want to do institution funding because they feel that we are getting sucked into a permanent responsibility. They see one-time thing and finish. Don't bother me next time. And scholarship funding, easy, clean, you can do that. If they like it, they can repeat. If they don't, they'll stop there. So this is another one. Other thing, that crazy idea, again, within the social business thing, I said, if you talk about social business, why don't we find a social business solution for YSBC funding? That's what the legitimate thing to do, because we are all the researchers and so on. We are telling others to do with sustainability. We don't do with sustainability ourselves. Why can't we create a business? Business, a social business which produces enough money for us to be funded, all of them, 56 of them. Possible. A global company we create which produces enough return to fund this.
I like that.
Yeah, of course it is something. We can do that. I feel that if circumstances was favorable, we can create a company in Bangladesh which can fund all these 56 companies. It's possible. And we bring all the business ideas, advising everybody else, but we don't do it ourselves. You talk about social business, you can't solve your own problem. So this is a kind of challenge that you have to keep thinking. It may not be 56 YSBC, it may be one YSBC. Or a part of that YSBC comes from a business that we started in the neighborhood, which produces enough money to fund one faculty or one something. So this is the beginning of that kind of attitude. This self-sustaining ourselves, we can make ourselves self-sustaining something doing that. What that business would be, whether this would be academic business, whether it will be some completely consumer-oriented business. But we generate enough money to do that. Only the purpose of that business, which is a genuine good business, but we fund our institution yourself. So those are the kind of things. And we can create business run by the students to generate some surplus to come back for them to do the research and so on and so forth. Start with the students probably. Just thoughts, not that you have to jump into it. Because this will be consistent. Because we are talking about social business, solving problems. We should put our mind into it, how to address that kind of thing. Maybe somebody will have a smart idea how to do those kind of things. Convert existing business into a social business, address to the whole question of financing the education of the social business. We can, instead of asking for a donation or something, you said, why don't you convert your business into a social business? Geared to this particular purpose. One institution, half institution, quarter institution, whatever you want, but this is what dedicated to. That's also possible. So varieties of this, once we think at that line, how to make them happen. So financing is an issue that we have to address, we have to continue. But in the meantime, we can also do it as a kind of, as we talk about the selflessness, another social business idea. We have to do with little selflessness ourselves. I'm selfless, I want to use my extra time to do social. I'm not using my official time because they're not paying me for that. So I use my extra time. This is my selfless part of me. Developing the curriculum, developing this and so on and so forth, etc., etc. So that's also something we should keep in mind, that we also demonstrate our commitment into contributing into the movement, into the things that we can do. So these are basically things we can generate, create, use technology for books, case histories, and so on, share with each other, and continue to expand our activities, and so on. So this is something that we keep in mind, how we address these issues along the way, and discuss among ourselves, and think in the line that, yes, we have to be self-sustaining ourselves along the way. Just because we are academic, we shouldn't be immune. We are teaching social business, and we keep ourselves immune from the business. No, we are not supposed to be in business. Possible if we can find a solution like that, keeping business separate from us is possible. If not, we generate business along the side, but we run the school and our courses on that spirit and so on. Offer social business courses for executives. That's also income generating activity. If we can go to the higher, if we can penetrate to the corporate bodies, they are now looking for social business ideas. Once we can create that demand, we can offer executive courses, which is quite a revenue-producing activity. And if you become popular, and yes, this is important for them, government officials, executives, the international funding agencies, or whatever,
mid-career professions.
Mid-career professions, and so on and so forth. So this is another kind of possibilities where there's many universities make quite a bit of money in the US particularly in addressing those kind of population and so on. So these are varieties of things. I'm just rolling out some quick remarks on that, not that I have solid, concrete plan for that. So these are issues, and we should put together, let's elaborate gradually how we do that, but initially concentrate on the academia conference itself so that we continue this dialogue, how we can come up, how we can do that. And in that, there are some problems faced by the groups of people behind organizing that. They keep saying we publicize, call for paper, but call for paper doesn't spread. So can we just share call for paper with each other rather than say, assume that everybody knows it? If you do that, then probably it will generate more interest. And there was a good suggestion today that why don't we try at least in mind that each YSBC will produce at least one paper so that we'll have 56 of them. This is a very good starting point. Then you add many more. So that's another thing. Nobody cares for, there again, these ideas are list given to me saying you should mention that. I'm mentioning that as I was suggested. The last date, nobody cares for the last date. So we keep on screaming, last date is coming, please send your articles and so on, papers and so on. Keep on, but it doesn't come. So we keep on extending that date. So can we have a date, since all our dates are kind of settled, we remember that this is the Social Business Day, this is the GSBS Day. So can we fix those dates so that we don't have to worry about all those things, that it comes on the fixed date, is set, is our cultural thing, we do this. So gradually we should aim at that. And they're also suggesting how to make the documentation, sharing the documentation, share the case studies, which you have discussed already. So these are covered. So we can make it a kind of routine thing that we feel very strongly about, because this is coming from our commitment part of me, commitment from us, not because university has ordered us to do this. We do it because we want it. So in that spirit, how much we can challenge, and also invite other colleagues, because social business center is not a center attached to economics department or a business department or a particular departmental responsibility. It's a university-wide responsibility, so that we can invite other colleagues of ours so that they become interested and see how they happen, how they make it happen. Joint research is another proposal in my list. So can we have, if we have a research proposal coming, we are submitting, can we do a joint proposal with another YSBC so that both of us address to the same thing? Usual thing, North versus South, agriculture versus industry, or something like that. So how do we elaborate? So both of us benefited from that, and we encourage each other to do that and have that possibilities of joint collaboration. Exchange faculty, this could be another possibility, visiting each other so that inspire each other, continue to meet each other and so on. These are ideas that we can just push into the picture and see how many of them is visible. If you are visiting some place for a conference, we all faculty members do. We visit Delhi, we visit Bangkok. Can we spend a day to one of those YSBC? Spend a day with them. Serious business, not just casual meeting. Serious business. I give a course. I do this because this is my part I understand, and I want to share it with your students and so on. It's possible. That encourages them that we are not the only one. They are coming from this country, which we never been there. He is coming. He's a famous researcher, famous professor. He's coming, giving a course, one-day course, and invite others to join because you are giving it. The students will share them, but also invite others to participate so that they know social business is a serious matter. It's not something some loonies are attending that courses. It's something serious. So those are the kind of things. Very easily we can incorporate it to our calendar and so on when we visit each other. We continually attending conferences and so on. If we can just make a little detour from city 1 to city 2, we can head for another social business. So that our family remains a tight-knit family that we can share with each other's experience and so on. So lots of things can happen because we feel for it, because it's coming from our heart, and we pay attention to it and look at our young people, where they are going. Am I being effective in them? Am I giving them a vision which will change their life? Because if I can change the life of few young people in front of me, I've done my job as a teacher. They will take the torch and move wherever it is. So this is what I think we can do, and many ideas will come gradually, how to make it easy to communicate with the students, how to make students visit actual, real social business activities, so that it's not a theoretical thing, it's a real thing. You can go. They said, my God, this is what I want to do. Students feel that, yes, this makes sense to me. They get excited. In our experiences, many of the young people come to Bangladesh to visit social businesses in Bangladesh for 1, 2 days, 3 days. It makes such an impact on them. You meet them 10 years later, they're excited about what they have done, what changed. Their whole course of life changed because of this 2-day, 3-day visit in Bangladesh or 1-week visit in Bangladesh. So it means something to people. It's not just somebody claiming. We meet them whenever we go visit, and the amazing stories they tell and how they keep in touch with each other as if they belong another fraternity for themselves. So these elements are there. As a teacher, as a faculty, as an academic, we can help them in some way. This is what the whole exercise of this academia conference is all about. And we do it because we want it. Otherwise, we could have many other conferences and our CV would be longer, our publication will be better. But we do it because we feel very strongly that this is needed, this is the time, is right. This is the time for us to make this contribution and feel good that we made this beginning. As a result, it happened. The wave has created, and that wave can become bigger and bigger and bigger. So thank you for all the time that you have spent. I'm just taking my opportunity to say a few words. And wonderful work so far done. I feel very strongly that coming to Bangalore, I feel YSBC and the conference has come to a level of maturity now. We understand many of our weaknesses, but we see the flashes of the good things that is emerging. So with that faith, with that confidence, we move forward and look forward to seeing you again in Wolfsburg with complete confidence that we have solved some of the problems, but still we are working for many others. Thank you very much. So we conclude this with this, and see you at the dinner. Is that it? And let's give a big applause for all the moderators and rapporteurs. They have such a good work, and all the participants who participated in the whole discussion. And this brings us to the conclusion of 2 days of our work, and you'll be soon leaving, very soon, in a few hours, many of you soon, and we'll be leaving in the morning, and many will be leaving in the middle of the night. So we thank you all. It is a wonderful occasion, and I hope we can get another chance to meet soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.